a strict law had been enforced. No one was allowed to have a second child, even if their first one had died. Anyone who broke this law was sent to the country's most dangerous prison. At the heavily guarded Canada-US border, every person was thoroughly checked. In one car, John Brennick, a former soldier, was traveling with his wife Karen. Karen was pregnant, but wore a magnetic vest under her coat to conceal it, hoping to escape far away to give birth to their second child. The vest helped her avoid detection during inspection. However, when a pregnant girl nearby was arrested, Karen became even more terrified, but her vest saved her. After they were cleared, a soldier noticed the vest, and soon multiple guards began chasing them. To protect his wife and unborn child, John told Karen to flee while he stayed behind to hold off the soldiers. He was eventually captured and taken to Fortress, the country's most high-tech prison built in the middle of a desert, from where escape was considered impossible. Upon arrival, all inmates were stripped and thoroughly searched. A high-tech tracker was implanted into each of their stomachs. Any rule breaking would activate the device, causing the prisoner's stomach to explode. The prison director, Poe, warned that stepping past the yellow line would cause immense pain, and crossing the red line would result in death. When one prisoner accidentally crossed the yellow line, he experienced severe pain and then mistakenly crossed the red line, causing his stomach to swell and explode. The prisoners were then taken via lift to the underground facility, located 30 floors below ground. John was assigned to a cell with a prisoner named Nino and a robot called Z-10. Each cell had laser beams outside to prevent escape. John also met other inmates like D-Day and Abraham. Before sleeping, Abraham warned John not to dream. Later that night, JAD, the prison AI, scanned John's brain and accessed his dream in which he saw his wife, Karen. Director Poe, monitoring from his control room, also saw the dream and fixated on Karen, since dreaming was forbidden. He activated John's security device, causing him immense abdominal pain and waking him up. The next day, while working, a prisoner named Maddox tried to abuse Nino, but John intervened. JAD activated the devices in all 3 prisoners' stomachs to stop the fight. They were then taken to a small laser room. John, Nino, and Maddox were put in a cell and questioned about who started the fight. Nino, terrified of Maddox, stayed silent, so John took the blame to protect his friend. He was taken to Poe's office, where Poe was watching Karen shower, revealing that she had also been captured and imprisoned. Poe began brutally torturing both John and Karen. Later, Abraham informed John that all women, including Karen, were held on floors A and B. Karen, meanwhile, was with another pregnant woman in the women's prison. When she went into labor, guards dragged her away. Karen noticed that every woman there was pregnant, realizing something sinister was being done to the newborns. Back in the men's prison, Maddox attacked John, and a fierce fight broke out. Karen, from her floor, saw John and was shocked. John eventually pushed Maddox off a high ledge, but Maddox managed to grab the edge and hang on. Poe ordered John to kill Maddox, but he refused and spared his life. Furious, Poe activated Maddox's stomach device, causing him to explode. Before guards arrived, John cleverly gave Maddox's security chip to Nino. Karen was then taken to a room where John was strapped to a huge spinning machine called the Mind Wipe Chamber. Poe sent Karen in to persuade John, but guards soon dragged her out. The machine began spinning violently, scrambling John's mind as punishment for disobedience. He relived memories of his training and marriage. 3 days later, Poe, amazed that John was still alive, summoned Karen and offered her a deal. If she divorced John and became his, he'd free both John and the unborn child. Thinking of her family, Karen reluctantly agreed. When John was returned to his cell, he was like a lifeless corpse, unresponsive and numb to any pain. Karen began living with Poe. But one night, she discovered Poe connected to wires. He had been modified into an advanced human who didn't need food or sleep, only a monthly amino acid infusion. The same was being done to babies born in the prison. Through operations, they were turned into advanced humans to create a future world free of hunger and human limitations. Horrified, Karen realized the truth. 4 months passed, and John remained unresponsive. Abraham told him Karen was visibly pregnant and close to delivering. John didn't react, but a single tear rolled down his cheek. That night, Karen seduced. Poe made him drunk, and when he passed out, she used the control panel to enter John's dream. In the dream, John was a child trapped in a pit, and Karen reached out to pull him out. Karen's effort to reach John in his dream worked. He regained consciousness, and everyone was relieved to see him recovering. Determined to escape with Karen, John sought Abraham's help, who agreed to risk everything for him. Karen, overjoyed at John's recovery, continued working on their plan. Meanwhile, Nino handed John the security device taken from Maddox. Their friend D-Day, a computer expert before imprisonment, analyzed the device and discovered it contained a powerful magnet. They decided to use this magnet to remove the implanted security trackers from their bodies, successfully disabling them. Meanwhile, Karen stole a diamond-like object from Poe's office and hid it in her mouth when almost caught. The next day, she secretly handed it to Abraham to give to John. This object turned out to be a detailed map of the entire prison. They calculated that the best escape route was through the construction site. Abraham returned the map to Poe's office to avoid suspicion. At the same time, D-Day figured out how the security devices functioned and successfully removed everyone's implants using the magnet. The next day, the robot JAD informed Poe that something was wrong. Reviewing camera footage, Poe saw Karen stealing the lens and Abraham returning it. Furious at the betrayal, Poe was about to act when JAD informed him he had been removed from his post due to negligence. Meanwhile, John's team prepared to escape, attaching their deactivated security devices to a pipe in the construction area and pretending to fight. When JAD saw the fight and activated the devices, the pipe exploded instead, creating an escape path. But before they could flee, Poe released scalding hot air through the pipes, and high-tech robots began shooting at them. Trapped, one inmate named Styx panicked and tried to return, but the robots gunned him down. Meanwhile, Abraham went to rescue Karen, but Poe appeared and killed him, while guards dragged Karen away to turn her unborn child into an advanced human. Back in the escape route, John's team managed to take down one of the attackers and discovered it wasn't a robot. It was actually an advanced human. John picked up the fallen gun and, fighting off attackers, made his way back into the prison. The group got into an elevator and ascended toward the surface to find Karen. As they searched Poe's cabin, John saw on a screen that doctors were forcibly removing their baby from Karen. He threatened Poe to stop the operation, but Poe, no longer the director, had no authority. Just then, a robot identified them and attacked, but the inmates dodged, and the bullet struck Poe instead, killing him. D-Day tried to stop the doctors via the control panel, but was shot by a guard before he could finish. John avenged his friend, and with his last strength, D-Day shut down the prison's entire power grid, halting the doctors and disabling the security systems. This allowed all the prisoners to escape. Only John and Nino remained, and they reached Karen, rescuing her and escaping in a prison truck. They crossed the Mexico border just as Karen was about to give birth. But suddenly, the truck began moving on its own. It was still remotely controlled by the prison. The truck ran over and killed Nino. John stepped out to confront it and blew it up. But tragically, it crashed into a nearby hut where Karen had taken shelter. Panicked, John searched for her in the rubble, but was relieved to find she had escaped just in time. She was safe and holding their beautiful newborn baby. The end. John and Karen had successfully saved their child. So, how much do you love your parents? Share in one line in the comments.